Starting off our list at number 1 is Lies of P, a Souls-like that takes the classic Pinocchio tale and transforms it into a dark gothic nightmare. Set in the fallen city of Krat, you play as P, a mechanoid puppet navigating through a world filled with grotesque enemies and challenging boss fights. The combat system borrows heavily from the Souls formula, with precise timing, dodge mechanics, and punishing difficulty that rewards patient players. What sets this game apart is its weapon customization system that lets you combine different blade and handle components to create unique fighting styles. The Belle Epoque-inspired environments are stunning, ranging from decrepit streets to grand opera houses. The game features a lying system that affects your humanity and influences the story outcomes, adding an extra layer of depth to your choices. Performance on Xbox runs smoothly with quick load times, and the boss designs are genuinely creative and memorable. It is one of the most polished Souls-like experiences available on Game Pass right now. Moving to number 2, we have Remnant 2, which brilliantly blends Souls-like combat with third-person shooter mechanics in a post-apocalyptic multiverse setting. You travel through procedurally generated worlds, fighting against the Root and other dimensional threats using both melee weapons and firearms. The game shines in its build diversity with different archetypes that offer unique playstyles from summoner to gunslinger to tank roles. Co-op play is seamlessly integrated, allowing up to 3 players to tackle the challenging content together. Each world you visit has distinct biomes with their own enemy types, bosses, and environmental puzzles to solve. The procedural generation means every playthrough offers different encounters and rewards, significantly boosting replay value. Boss fights are intense, requiring pattern recognition and strategic thinking while managing your ammunition and consumables. The upgrade system is deep, with weapon modifications, trait points, and gear sets that encourage experimentation. Game Pass version includes all updates and runs excellently on Xbox Series consoles. At number 3 sits Hollow Knight, a masterclass in Metroidvania design with Souls-like difficulty and atmosphere. You explore the vast, interconnected underground kingdom of Hollow Nest as a silent knight uncovering its tragic history. The hand-drawn art style is absolutely gorgeous, with each area having distinct visual themes from the lush green path to the crystalline mines. Combat is tight and responsive, with a focus on learning enemy patterns and timing your attacks carefully. The game punishes death by making you retrieve your shade to reclaim your geocurrency, similar to the Souls formula. Boss battles are challenging and varied, each requiring different strategies and offering satisfying victories. The world design encourages exploration with hidden areas, secret passages, and optional challenging content for skilled players. You unlock new abilities that open up previously inaccessible areas, creating that classic Metroidvania progression loop. The haunting soundtrack and environmental storytelling create an unforgettable atmosphere throughout your journey. Number 4 brings us Salt and Sanctuary, a two-dimensional take on the Souls formula that successfully translates the challenging gameplay into a side-scrolling format. The dark medieval setting is filled with horrifying creatures and treacherous environments that test your platforming and combat skills equally. You create your character choosing from multiple classes and builds that drastically change your playstyle from heavy armor knights to quick daggers rogues. The Sanctuary system replaces bonfires where you rest, level up, and manage your equipment while also claiming territory in the world. Combat feels weighty and deliberate, with stamina management being crucial to survival, just like its 3-dimensional inspirations. The skill tree is expansive, offering hundreds of nodes to invest in, allowing for deep character customization and respec options. Boss encounters are creative and challenging, often requiring multiple attempts to learn their patterns and weaknesses. Co-op play is available locally, adding another dimension to the experience. The art style might take some getting used to, but the gameplay depth makes it a must-play for Souls fans. Coming in at number 5 is Mortal Shell, a compact Souls-like that focuses on tight combat and strategic shell-switching mechanics. You inhabit different shells, which are essentially fallen warriors, each with unique stats and abilities that suit different playstyles. The hardening mechanic is this game's signature feature, letting you instantly turn to stone to absorb one hit, adding a tactical layer to combat encounters. The world design is smaller than typical Souls games, but densely packed with secrets, shortcuts, and atmospheric locations to discover. Combat is deliberate and punishing, with limited healing items forcing you to make every action count. The weapon variety is limited, but each weapon feels significantly different, with unique move sets and upgrade paths to explore. Boss fights are memorable and challenging, requiring you to master the hardening and parry systems to succeed. The dark fantasy setting and lore are intriguing, told through item descriptions and environmental storytelling. Performance on Game Pass is solid, with good visuals and stable frame rates, making it an accessible entry point for Souls newcomers. At number 6, we find Tunic, an isometric adventure that disguises its Souls-like difficulty behind adorable aesthetics featuring a tiny fox hero. The game brilliantly uses a mysterious instruction manual that you discover page by page throughout your journey, revealing mechanics and secrets gradually. Combat requires precision timing and stamina management, with a lock-on system that helps in crowded encounters. The world is interconnected with shortcuts that open up as you progress, creating that satisfying sense of a world folding in on itself. Exploration is heavily rewarded with hidden paths, secret areas, and cryptic puzzles that require careful observation and experimentation. Boss battles are tough but fair, each teaching you new lessons about your abilities and the game's systems. The art style is charming, but do not let that fool you, as the difficulty rivals traditional Souls games, especially in the late-game sections. The soundtrack is beautiful, enhancing the mysterious atmosphere of this ruined world. Tunic manages to feel fresh while respecting the Souls formula, making it a standout experience on Game Pass. Number 7 introduces Death's Door, where you play as a Crow Reaper collecting souls in a world where death has stopped working properly. The game combines Souls-like combat with puzzle solving and exploration in a beautifully crafted world full of charm and mystery. Combat is fast-paced, focusing on dodging enemy attacks and finding openings to strike with your various weapons and spells. The difficulty is challenging but more forgiving than hardcore Souls games, making it more accessible while still rewarding skillful play. Each major area introduces new enemy types and environmental hazards, keeping the gameplay fresh throughout the adventure. Boss fights are creative and memorable, requiring pattern recognition and quick reflexes to overcome. The upgrade system lets you enhance your health, magic, and abilities by spending collected souls at specific locations. The art direction is stunning with a unique visual style that blends darkness with whimsical elements. The story has genuine heart with interesting characters and emotional moments that elevate it beyond just challenging combat encounters. At number 8, we have Flintlock: The Siege of Dawn, a newer addition that brings Souls-like combat to a fantasy world threatened by gods and the undead. You play as Nor, wielding both gunpowder weapons and melee tools, alongside your companion Enki, who assists in combat and traversal. The combat system emphasizes aggression, with a reputation meter that builds as you land hits without taking damage, rewarding offensive playstyles. The open world structure differs from traditional Souls games, giving you more freedom to explore and tackle challenges in various orders. Boss encounters are epic in scale, often involving multiple phases and requiring you to utilize your full arsenal of abilities. The story is more straightforward than typical Souls games, with clear objectives and character development through cutscenes. Traversal feels fluid, with climbing, gliding, and zipline mechanics that make exploration enjoyable. The game features a day-night cycle and dynamic weather that affects enemy placements and difficulty. Performance on Xbox Series consoles is smooth, with impressive visuals and minimal load times, making it a visually appealing experience. Number 9 takes us to Remnant from the Ashes, the predecessor to Remnant 2 that established the gunfire Souls-like formula in a post-apocalyptic setting. The root has consumed Earth, and you fight to reclaim the world while traveling to alternate dimensions, seeking aid and resources. The procedural generation ensures that each playthrough offers different dungeons, bosses, and loot drops, encouraging multiple runs. Co-op is a major focus, with balanced difficulty scaling whether you play solo or with up to 2 friends. Build crafting is deep, with weapon mods, armor sets, trinkets, and traits that allow for countless combinations and playstyles. Boss fights are varied and challenging, with many having alternate kill methods that reward different loot, encouraging experimentation. The world hopping keeps the environments diverse, from swampy ruins to desert wastelands to crystalline dimensions. Gunplay feels satisfying, with a variety of weapons from pistols to rifles to bizarre alien technology. The game regularly received updates and expansions, adding significant content that is all included in the Game Pass version. Coming in at number 10 is The Surge 2, a sci-fi Souls-like set in a dystopian future where you fight against rogue machines and augmented enemies. The limb targeting system is this game's signature feature, letting you target specific body parts to sever and claim as crafting materials for upgrades. Combat is fast and aggressive, with a focus on directional blocking and precise dodging rather than shields and heavy armor. The setting of Jericho City offers more open exploration compared to the first game, with multiple paths and hidden areas to discover. Character customization is extensive, with implants, armor sets, and weapon modifications that drastically change your effectiveness in combat. The parry and counter system is deeply satisfying when mastered, allowing you to dismantle tough enemies with perfect timing. Boss encounters are mechanical and strategic, requiring you to identify weaknesses and exploit them for victory. The crafting system ties directly into combat as you farm specific enemies for their gear by targeting the parts you need. The story explores themes of transhumanism and corporate greed with environmental storytelling throughout the ruined city. At number 11, we find Blasphemous, a brutal Metroidvania Souls-like set in the nightmarish religious land of Custodia, filled with grotesque imagery and punishing combat. You play as the penitent one, wielding a sword born from guilt on a pilgrimage through a world twisted by divine punishment. The pixel art is hauntingly beautiful, with incredible attention to detail in every gruesome enemy design and environmental backdrop. Combat is methodical, requiring precise timing for attacks, dodges, and parries, with no room for button mashing. The game features a guilt system where dying too much affects your character negatively until you perform acts of penance. Boss fights are epic and disturbing, each representing twisted religious concepts and requiring mastery of the combat system. Exploration rewards thorough players with hidden paths, secret items, and optional challenging encounters that flesh out the dark lore. The soundtrack is atmospheric, perfectly complementing the oppressive religious horror aesthetic throughout your journey. Upgrades come through prayers, relics, and sword improvements that gradually make you more powerful while maintaining the challenging difficulty. Finally, at number 12, we have Code Vein, an anime-styled Souls-like set in a post-apocalyptic world where revenants feed on blood to survive and fight against the lost. The character creation is incredibly detailed, letting you craft your ideal vampire warrior with extensive customization options. Combat is faster than traditional Souls games, with a focus on draining enemy ichor to fuel your powerful gift abilities. The blood code system acts as a class system, letting you switch between different builds on the fly, each with unique stat distributions and available gifts. The companion system is a major feature, with AI partners who fight alongside you, making the game more accessible for solo players. Boss battles are grand in scale, with memorable designs, though the difficulty is generally more forgiving than hardcore Souls games. The interconnected world design features shortcuts and hidden areas, though it is more linear than some other entries in the genre. The story is told through anime cutscenes and memory echoes, providing a more narrative-driven experience than typical Souls games. Gear upgrading and Blood Veil customization offer depth for players who enjoy optimizing their builds for specific challenges.